Welcome to the Millennial Diner podcast. It's Jeff. I'm here at the diner with Phil, and today we have Alan with us. Say hey, Alan.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Yeah, we're here. We're hungry. I'm going to get started real quick because I know exactly what I want. I'm going to have, going fancy today. It's a fancy day. I'm going to have a vegan egg Benedict. With vegan hollandaise sauce. You got
Let's
it.
go. There you go.
Hell yeah. And I'm going to have some home fries on the side and coffee with some oat milk.
Oat milk, once again. Wait, vegan eggs Benedict.
Yeah, that's right.
I feel like that should have a fun catch name. But I don't know what it would be.
Well, you had the whole show to come up with it.
I'm gonna sit here and ponder what this could possibly be called. Alan, what are you gonna order from Flo?
You know what? I'm gonna keep it pop punk to stay on theme. Let me just get good pizza and water. I'm fine with that.
Pizza and water. All right. You're not going to dip the pizza in the water, are you? I mean, you can if you want.
Fuck no.
Okay, good.
I mean,
Dare
I
you
don't judge.
blasphemize the pizza like that?
No judgment. You want to dunk pizza in water? That's totally fine. I gotta write this down.
I don't know. I hear the punks in San Diego dip their pizza in water. That's what I hear.
I've never heard that in my life. If I ever see that, we're gonna have a fucking problem.
Just slap the slice out of someone's hand.
Slap this just with a big slap. Like, no, that is incorrect. I think I'm gonna have a piece of rye toast with some butter and a black coffee. That sounds delicious today.
I don't know, Phil. That doesn't sound very pop punk to me.
That's as pop punk as it gets. I swear. I mean,
Yeah, that's like something you would eat before Warp Tour, and then go to Warp Tour and almost die.
It's one hair away from what was it? Scotty and Anthrax used to call loser lunch, which was ham on hand, because that's all you had money for, which was the ham.
Sounds slimy. Alan, I'm so glad you brought up Warp Tour. I've been thinking a lot about Warp Tour. Here we are. We're recording this in the dead of summer here. We're here. It's hot everywhere.
Not that time for Warp Tour.
It feels like it. It just feels like I feel like around this time, and I don't know. So me and Phil are from the East Coast. We're from Long Island. Our date on the Warp Tour was typically in like late July, early August. Like around that time is like when like the thing in my brain goes off. It's like it's time for Warp Tour. And I was thinking about Warp Tour and how, for the people who don't know what Warp Tour is,
there's those people that exist now.
They are, and they're both either way older than us or way younger than us. It's like that. Right. That part of it. Warp Tour was, it was an institution for the punk, pop punk, emo, hardcore world for so long. It started in 1995 and ended in 2018, the full tour. Then 2019, they did 3 dates. 2? Was it Jersey and California?
Yes.
Yeah. So they did that for the 25th anniversary of Warp Tour. But Warp Tour was this carnival, basically, of bands and skateboarders and BMX bikers. At one point, was a big thing. Vans. It was called the Vans Warp Tour for a long time, and Vans was the sponsor. Before. It's so funny now looking at like the punk emo world now, because there's so many like pieces of it now. There's so many aspects of it. There's all these bands are bigger than ever. They're Paramore, Fall Out Boy, My Chem. They're selling out arenas. Blink just sold out arenas across the country. But at a time, all these bands were just one of the many bands on the stage is at Warped Tour, and it was punk rock summer camp, and I think crucial to a lot of these bands, especially the band we're talking about today. I mean, they're synonymous with it, right? And it's weird that it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it's very weird. It was like you said, it was an institution for every summer. Warped Tour was a thing. It was the thing. It was like, and you took the words I read in my mouth earlier. Warped Tour was punk rock summer camp. That's all it was.
And it was disgusting. You got sweaty and you got gross. In New York, we had it at Randall's Island for a long time, which was just off Astoria, Queens. And it was a big dirt storm. So it was known for just dirt clouds. Like as soon as the mosh pit started, you had clouds of dirt. People would wear handkerchiefs over their face. Eventually, it moved to Long Island, actually, to the Nassau Coliseum parking lot, which was just blazing hot and terrible for that reason. But you didn't matter. You got there when the day started, and you watched bands all day. It's also funny because like it was a huge festival before festivals were really that big in the U.S. Festivals were huge in Europe, but I feel like Warped Tour was one of the few that there was a few, like there was Lollapalooza, right, earlier.
There was
Coachella, and Coachella kind of like rose up as, but Warped Tour was like the one that was like literally like what 30, 40 dates a summer.
Yeah, see, and that's the difference. That's the difference because you don't have like, I mean, Coachella, Lollapalooza, and all those other festivals. Those are multi-day festivals. Warped Tour was a one-day traveling festival where you make one stop in your city and go to the next city the next day. So everybody got to experience it. You didn't have to fly out like you would have to for Coachella or anything like that.
It's just like Warped Tour predated everything. I mean, granted, Woodstock is the grandfather of them all, right? But like, I think Warped Tour was like the first time I can think of, and I don't know if there's one in front of it, where alternative music, in a sense, was the festival, was the tour. That was it. I don't think of another one before that.
Well, Lollapalooza was actually made to be that. It was supposed to be like the alternative to the other festivals. And it had that feeling for like a little bit, but I eventually straight off into being top 40, whatever, basically what it is today.
It's funny because when did Lollapalooza start?
Had to be early 90s, but a few years before Warped Tour. I feel like Warped Tour was inspired by, just my guess, I imagine Lalo, because I'm not actually referencing a Simpson episode of Lollapalooza where Homer ends up becoming one of the freaks on Lollapalooza because he can take cannonballs to his stomach. And that was probably in the mid 90s. So it was popular enough to be on the Simpsons at that point.
I just Wikipedia'd it, but I had to. So Lala started as a touring event in '91.
Oh yeah.
And then several years later, Chicago became the permanent location.
See, I feel like I was like, maybe I wasn't old enough, or I didn't dig the bands that went to Lollapalooza, because I feel like the Warped Tour was the first time I found an interest in one of these big ass, ridiculous, all day things, like where you're dead in the sun. Speaking of, being standing around in the sun all day, but standing around in the sun all day, getting sunburned, listening to 45 different bands. It's the only time I was ever interested in doing that. And now festivals are like, they're all the time.
Yeah, they're all. I mean, I look at like we brought this thing up before, the When We Were Young Fest in Vegas. I mean, that when that came out and everyone's freaking out, they're like, how are all these bands going to play? I was like, they're going to do Warped Tour. They're going to have multiple stages. And
that's exactly what I was like. What are you freaking out about? Because people who didn't go to Warped Tour, all the people who listened to the top 40 and all that stuff like that, and like didn't go to Punk Rock Summer Camp, they're just like, wait, how is this gonna work? There's too many bands to play in one day, blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, like Warped Tour. Like all those people were like, oh, this is a fake lineup. There's no way they could do this. Fucking Warped Tour.
Yeah, they got this figured. This has been done many times before on a much smaller budget, and got picked up and moved to a different city every night. And the best part I thought was you couldn't look up set times because they would announce the set times that morning on that big inflatable board.
Yeah, and they would switch it up every day.
Yeah, and there was no headliner. That was kind of like the ethos of it. It was like everyone's on the same level. So NoFX and Blink-182 could play at 3:00 in the afternoon, and then MXPX could be at 6, and the Ataris could be at close it out at 7:30. It would change every day.
I gotta admit though, I do like the fact that festivals now list out the times and the slots. Now I can like strategically plan my day. I'm like, now I can go see this band at 3, and if I hurry, I can get this band at 4, and then this one at 5:15. So I do appreciate the slotted time frame in front, so I can figure out what exactly I'm gonna do.
No, it makes sense. I'm trying to wrap my head around like what Warped Tour would be like today if it was that style. Would it still be able to do that, or would they have to kind of like, because now with festivals there's the VIP tiers, all this other stuff that goes into it, which again was against the Warped Tour ethos. Like, I don't even know, did Warped Tour even have like beer tents? I feel like they might have had one, but but I don't remember because
I don't know. I don't know if did they even sell beer? Because I don't remember.
I don't ever
I don't remember them having
Yeah.
beer. Yeah.
I don't know
I
because I feel like
I
it
don't.
was so young, right? You were most of the people going were
I
probably about
mean, yeah,
15.
I guess, but even in the later days, like I don't. I mean, granted, like I rarely drink at like concerts anyway. Like I'll have like maybe because A, it's expensive, and B, I just don't care to.
You
But
don't want to enjoy a $40 beer because that's not.
hard pass on that. No, I'd rather spend it on merch. No, but anyways, yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know that they had beer. I don't remember. Because I don't remember there being like drunk people in the pit or anything like that either.
No, I mean there were.
I mean, if they were because they were
snuck it in.
pre-gaming, yeah, and they pre-game.
Yeah. There definitely were drunk people and people puking, but that was stuff they brought into it. I mean, I don't know. Warped Tour for me is really kind of how I started going to shows. I didn't really go to punk shows until I went to a Warped Tour, and like my brain melted. I was like, wait a second, this is what it's like, and I can see all these bands anytime I want when they come to town. Like it really kind of like really opened it up for me. Like this is something you can like spend your time doing, going to see bands like this. So I don't know, and it also felt very much like if you were going to Warped Tour, because it's not top 40, as you kind of said it, Alan. It's like, oh, this is kind of like my secret club. Like,
Yeah,
no, no one really knows about Warped Tour, which I think will come out. We'll discuss a little further when we get to one of the top singles off the album we're talking about today, "Take Off Your Pants and Jacket" by the band Blink-182, because we'll get there. In one of their first single on this album, they name drop Warped Tour in the song, and suddenly this like secret club that I thought was now on MTV being sang about on the radio, and that was kind of like a crazy moment of like, wow, Warped Tour's really arrived.
I think that was the lead single off this album.
Yeah, Rock Show was, yeah.
Yeah. Funny. Like this is a good segue. Also, Warped Tour was actually my first concert ever.
Really?
Warped Tour, really?
Yeah, Warped Tour 2006 was my first concert ever.
Oh, that's amazing.
So it was, and it's funny because it was not even, well, maybe like 2 weeks ago to the day. It was July 11th, 2006 at Dodger Stadium.
Oh wow. Who are some of the bands that year for yours?
So I really wanted to go 2005 because 2005 was the golden year. That was
that's
that
the Fall Out Boy,
to,
MC Mike Hem. Yeah.
Fall Out Boy, MCR, Paramore started coming up then.
Yep.
That was the year to go, and my parents didn't let me go. So the next year, my friend finally had a car, and we all decided to go to Warped Tour. So that year, who were the headliners? I just remember most of the people I saw. I saw Census Fail. I saw Motion City Soundtrack, Hello Goodbye, Amber Pacific. Back there. I want to say Gym Class Heroes maybe was on that.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
I looked up I'm looking it up, the Jack in the Box stage. This was the run for the main stage. Just to put this in perspective for you. It opens with Census Fail. Then we go into Saves the Day, Motion City Soundtrack, the Dan Band. I'm going to skip the next one because they're in trouble right now. Then there's the Pink Spiders, Under Oath, Rise Against, and Thursday. That's the main stage in 2006. But that's okay. I would rather go to the Teddy Bear stage because that's Against Me, The Casualties, Helmet, Living End, Aiden, No Effects, Bouncers, Joan Jett, and then Less Than Jake.
Yeah. That's when they started kind of doing the old school punk and like the new school emo punk on different stages.
And AFI was on that lineup too. I don't know if they played all dates, but I'm looking at a lineup as well. AFI was on there. Alexis on Fire, Armor for Sleep. I remember seeing the Academy is. I just saw they were there. That's where I first saw the Academy is.
I was going to ask you, Alan, since you mentioned this is your first show, kind of like, would you mind giving us kind of like a little from your own point of view of like your entry point into the scene, these bands, kind of like how you found Blink, and and where you are today with the scene.
So I think my earliest memory of being in the scene was honestly Blink-182. Hearing Damn It on the radio, K-Rock, Southern California staple radio station growing up. You heard them coming from San Diego. They got airplay on K-Rock a lot. Damn It was one of the first songs I heard, and then obviously All the Small Things and What's My Age Again. blowing up from Enema of the State. But I was so 2001 or no, well 1999 was Enema of the State, so I was probably 10 years old at that point. 2001 came along, and finally, like that's when I started kind of like having an allowance and like
Yeah.
getting like all that stuff. And I remember one of my cousins actually had Take Off Your Pants Jacket, the album we're discussing today. He had it, and we would every time I would go into their house, he was always a cooler older cousin. Like I would always look up to him. So every time we'd go to his house, like me and him would go into his room and just hang out in his room and just hang out. And that album was the one that he put on every day, and that I think I had already been a Blink fan, but that solidified by like, okay, this is my band. Blink is my favorite band of all time. I remember, I don't know, it's just like remember feeling the whole teenage angst at that time because I was about to hit my teens. And the lyrics. I mean, obviously all the joke songs were hilarious. But I feel like this was like a good evolution of Blink from Enema. Because Enema was very jokey and very like the lyrics were very like toilet humor and stuff like that. And I think Take Off Your Pants Jacket was more of a serious album. And yeah, that's like one of the first albums I remember buying myself with my own money. So at that time when that album went on sale, the first run of the album, there were digipacks, which are like they're not regular CD cases for those young ones who don't know what I'm talking about. CDs used to come in plastic cases most of the time. Digipack was normally when it was like more of a paper case with like plastic on it, and those are the ones that had 3 different variations. They had the red plain, the yellow pants, and the green jacket. So not knowing that was a thing, I just picked up whatever.
Each of the labels also have like a silhouette of one of the guys in the band, so you could either get like a Mark, Tom, or a Travis one. I'm trying to remember.
I believe so. I think the hype sticker had like their silhouette or something like that.
Yeah, because at the time I was like, I'm a Mark guy, so I bought the Mark one. Also, so Blink is obviously like huge to you. If you were to make a Mount Rushmore of bands for the scene for you, what other? Well, I'm assuming Blink's on there. Maybe I shouldn't assume. Yeah. Okay, Blink's on there. Who else? Who are the other 3?
I would go Paramore. Paramore's probably my second favorite band. It's funny because I don't realize how much I love Fall Out Boy until they're around, and I think for a while I kind of like fell off the wagon with them, but this album and this tour like brought me back full force. So I think it's safe to say they're probably up there as well. And then MCR, of course.
Those are 4 all-star picks.
Yeah. All-star picks. I appreciate Paramore being on there. I feel like Paramore is a band that doesn't get enough recognition that they ought to. They really should. Really should.
So they just came around and I just saw them. Jeff, you were there, right? At one of the shows?
No, I didn't get to go. I got to see them open for this small up and coming artist named Taylor Swift. Yeah, back in March. But yeah, no, I actually what I'm really impressed with, and I saw the footage. I don't know if you saw the footage of the Paramore show at all, Phil, but like she brought Billie Eilish on stage, like
that's cool.
And Bethany from Best Coast was on there the next night, and it's like I really feel like Paramore's having a moment now where a lot of these, in fact, all these bands are.
Paramore also got announced as support for all of Taylor's Europe tour.
Yeah. So it's going to be Taylor and Paramore. Yeah,
that's going to blow them up even more.
Now we're turning this into a Paramore podcast. Seeing Haley and lead Paramore in a football stadium opening for Taylor, I was like, oh, she can control a stadium. Like,
see, I've always felt that with Haley. I feel like they've always been a band that could be a bigger band than they are. I mean, and they're also not transcendent. That sounds weird, but like my daughter's 9. She listens to Paramore. I listen to Paramore. I think, and it's great. I think what that band has not even hit what they are capable of doing just yet, and I think that's great for them. I'm sad I feel like it's taken them a long time to get kind of the recognition I think they ought to have. I love a girl-fronted punk band, emo band, started as punk band, like real punk, straight punk band, has now grown up and become more of an emo band, and that's perfectly acceptable. I love where they're going, and I wish them the greatest success. Love Paramore.
So I'm gonna give a hot take, very very hot take.
This could be very hot. I have a feeling.
no,
This is
so me and my friend were actually discussing this at the Paramore show. Oh no, I'm sorry. We're discussing it on the way down to Emo Nite, which we'll get into in a bit because we kind of strayed from my origins and to where I'm at now. So we'll get.
That's okay.
That.
We go around in circuitous ways. It's all fine.
Yeah, we'll get back into that. But hot take. This is gonna be spicy. I'm gonna get attacked for this. I'm probably gonna get killed for this. I think if Paramore had the support from a label like Taylor had gotten, I think Haley could run laps around Taylor performance-wise.
Wow. You know what? That is a hot take. You're going to anger a lot of Swifties out there.
Don't get me wrong. I love fucking Taylor Swift. I mean,
yeah.
If Haley had the backing and if they had like, I don't know, I think Paramore could be the biggest band.
They could be a huge band. I'll give you that.
Well, if you are angry about this, please don't bother Alan, but feel free to send all your complaint letters to Phil in New Hampshire. He'll take those with you.
I will gladly respond each and every one of them. Bring it on.
All right. So swinging back into my origins scene. So that, I mean, Blink-182 was one of the first bands I got into. I also remember buying Sing the Sorrow by AFI. I kind of like, I wouldn't say like I stopped listening to like punk and emo and pop punk and whatever you want to call it. But I kind of strayed away for a while.
Yeah.
Because of the friend group that I had. I was in high school and middle school, high school. I started listening to a lot of hip hop and stuff like that. And that was just like my music for a while. It was also, I think it was the greatest era of hip hop like that, I mean, for me personally. But I was thinking about it. I think the reason why I liked hip hop so much at that time was because a lot of the lyrics, if you go back and listen to like stuff from like, I don't know what, 99 to like 2005, 2010-ish, I feel like a lot of the hip hop lyrics were kind of emo.
Yeah.
I mean, of course there were the party songs and stuff like that. There was like the Get Lows by Lil Jon and whatnot, but a lot of like the other tracks that weren't really singles, they were kind of emo. Some of the tracks.
Well, it's like a lot of personal, issues that people are dealing with, like in depression and things like that, and it's coming out.
Yeah. So I started with Blink, moved on to hip hop for a while, and then in high school I kind of fell back into like in love with the scene. I mean, it was when I went to my first Warped Tour. I was like, and prior to that, I had already been listening to like some other stuff like Dashboard and Paramore, Fall Out Boy, My Chem. Like I said, those three are huge. Motion City Soundtrack. I just started listening to all that, like all the good stuff. And then I went to Warped Tour, and then I think Warped Tour was when I was like, I'm all in with this stuff. Like this is the community I want to be a part of. And went through that, and after that, right now, I've been in the scene I've been part of the scene ever since then. But right now, let's say about 2015, I heard, me being the big Blink fan that I am, there is a little flyer that got posted around on Facebook by my friends for something called Emo Nite, Emo Nite LA. Back then it was called Take Back Tuesday, but now it's
that's the vintage name. Yeah.
Yeah, that's vintage. That's where I met you, Jeff.
Yeah. I mean, I too found something on Facebook a couple months before that where someone had posted in Echo Park in a small bar, the Shortstop, this like little dive bar that had like a little dance floor. It said, we're doing something called Taking Back Tuesday. We're going to play all punk and emo music. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get there 3 hours early because this is going to be a thing. And I dragged two of my friends who didn't like this music that much to this bar 3 hours early. And you know what? I was damn right. It was a thing because that everyone spread the word of mouth about it. There was a line like a mile outside the Shortstop, and like they did another one at the Shortstop the following month. And then the third month, which is the one you're talking about, they jumped up where they're like now at this place, the Echoplex, which is like 4 times the size. and also they got Mark Hoppus, a DJ.
Yeah, so that's what drew me in. I was like, me being the huge Blink fan that I am. At that point, I had already seen them live because when I first got into them, when I first got into them, I couldn't go to concerts at that time. I was too young, and my parents would not take me to that. It's not that they wouldn't allow me to go, but I don't know. It was just something that wasn't, Anyways, I didn't. After maybe like 2 years after I got into Blink, no, it was 4 years after I got into Blink, they broke up.
Yeah, the first breakup.
And I never got a chance to see them because I think they broke up, if I'm not mistaken, 2005.
Yeah.
And it was after self-titled. It was 2004, 2005. They were on tour. They broke up, and then 2006 was my first concert, so I barely missed them.
Yeah.
So I had to wait until they finally got back together in 2009, and finally I had seen them a lot. Or I went to like every show that I could. I went to like 4 shows the first tour the reunion tour they came back. And then so like I said, I was a Blink fan, huge Blink fan, had seen them multiple times, and then Emo Nite posted the flyer that you're talking about on Facebook, and I saw Mark Hoppus. And I had some friends that had gone to the previous ones, and I was like, they're like, oh, like come with us. I'm like, oh hell yeah, like let's go. Walked into Emo Nite that night. Life was changed forever, completely forever. Yeah, I mean, I fell in love with it. I saw Mark Hoppus DJ. He didn't do that great that night. I thought it was fun, but he didn't like his set, and also it was still Emo Nite was still in his infancy, so they didn't know what to do, what they were doing. They didn't know what like the setup of the show was.
Well, if I recall correctly, and I'm pretty sure he played a Fugazi song second or something like that. Like, yeah, it was like he was taking the word emo and going back to the emo core that he thought emo was.
Like to the Wikipedia definition.
Yeah, like the roots of it. Yeah, the great grandfathers of that. We played Right to Spring as well as
probably. He played the Cure. I know he played a Cure song. Yeah, and I think it was an obscure Cure song too, I think.
Yeah, he went in hard on what is the Wikipedia definition, like you said, of emo. And then I think when he came back the following month, he learned his lesson and he was like, all right. And I think he literally played First Date on his set. So
yeah, so the story goes, he didn't like the set that he did the first time because he didn't like the way it went over. And he asked them, he's like, hey, let me come back next month. I know what I'm gonna do now. I know what I'm doing now. So let me come back next month and redeem myself. I mean, long story short, I started going to Emo Nite, at the third one ever, and now I currently work for them, and I run their San Diego party and their Pomona party. I also helped launch the Boise, Idaho party. I helped out in San Francisco. I've been to like multiple dates everywhere. I've been all across the country with Emo Nite.
You're the heartbeat of the scene here because you're with Emo Nite and you're keeping it going. I got to see you DJ the other night in San Diego. And
your first San Diego show.
Yeah, my first San Diego show, and just seeing how you like the crowd. You knew what the crowd wanted, and you gave it to them, and you gave them a party to remember, which was really impressive.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun having you there.
So Phil, 2001,
mm-hmm.
the Blink-182 releases an album. This is the follow-up to their breakout.
The follow-up. This is the big doings. I mean, do you think this is like a sophomore album? I mean, kind of like it's like the follow-up to the big album, the big release.
Well, it's weird because like it is their fourth album, but right. I see what you're saying because like they kind of like they popped off a little bit on Dude Ranch in like the late 90s.
Right, but Enema State was where they went. They went like nuclear.
Enema State was right. Like, yeah, they are like a pop. I mean, literally, they are on TRL with the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and Britney Spears.
Right.
It's like,
but I think Alan's right. I think this is a much more take off your pants and jacket, despite the title. It's a very grown up album for them because they take on a lot of different things. Like this is okay. If I remember, here we go. It's the last one they did in MCA. It's with Jerry Finn.
The great Jerry Finn.
Great Jerry Finn as a producer. I think it's hilarious that they all got assigned one of the icons, and I find that sadly hilarious that poor Travis got stuck with the plane. Like,
Yeah.
He's afraid of heights, and I find that kind of hilarious and really sad because Tom got the pants, Mark got the jacket, and poor Travis got stuck with the plane. I feel kind of bad. He doesn't do planes, man. He doesn't travel on planes.
Well,
Well,
he just started traveling on planes again.
So it's 20 years later, decides to finally go back into a plane. Yeah.
This is before he was in the plane crash too.
Oh, wow. So this is even before that. So, okay, I didn't even realize.
Yeah, I think the plane crash was what, 2015 or so.
Was it before that? Because wasn't that the impetus to get them back together again? The first.
Oh
time?
yeah, I'm completely way off. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Like 2008 or 9, right?
It was it was 2011 or 12.
Oh, I thought the tour. I thought them coming back together was in responce to Travis.
Wait,
Yeah,
I'm like.
I think that sounds right. But even then, you're talking this. So he actively asked them not to give him the plane icon years before. So he had a thing with planes even then.
Yeah.
And then the plane crash really got to us. So, but yeah, so this is their 4th album. But I feel like it's the sophomore album, considering that Enema was the big break. That was where they, like you said, on TRL and hanging out with the Backstreet Boys. And then I feel like this album had to be bigger for them, had to be more mature to show that. Also, it's the 4th album. These kids, they're not 16-year-old kids anymore in reality. However,
we're going to sing about 16-year-old kids for the rest of our lives.
The rest of our lives, and it's but I think that kind of is apropos for the band. This is an album of change and growth for them. Some parts I don't love. That's okay. Some parts I do love. I like where they go with the drums. The drums get to really they really showcase Travis on this stuff where it's very different for him. There's parts I don't like about that because I came onto Blink on Dude Ranch, and I've always loved that straight punk thing with them. Maybe slightly more than where they went. I don't know. But this album is the album that got me to be like, okay, they could be a legit rock band, not just writing What's My Age Again, but actually some really heartfelt songs.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be your counterpoint to that, Phil, because I actually also came in on Dude Ranch, but ultimately my favorite is Self-Titled, which comes after this.
Oh, wow. Oh,
and
woo.
Yeah.
One more back. Yeah.
And as we go through this, I will point out some of the Travis drumming, some of the stuff they're doing musically. I'm hearing what they're about to do in the next album, the seeds here.
I think that's maybe why I like with Blink, I think the Self-Titled where I started gravitating away. And this might have been the last one. I was like, I love this album. I love what they do on it. But it's a transitory, much like how Alkaline Trio Good Morning was a transitory album. I feel like this is a transitory album. Like this is where the old version of the band is being shed away, and the new version is going forward, which actually kind of makes sense. This is the 2nd album of Travis on drum.
Yeah. That makes sense.
They're solidified. They're getting to know each other, and I think that makes a lot of sense that this is where they would start, because Travis is arguably one of the greatest drummers in the punk rock world. He's just that good of a drummer.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you're talking about them getting mature here, and I think if we look at the first song on the album,
right,
it's called Anthem Part 2.
Where's part 1?
Anthem is the last song on Enema of the State. And if you listen to the 2 versions, this one gets way more serious than even the last one. The last one, I felt like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Alan, Anthem is more just like being a teen and like wishing your friends are 21 and your parents are being hard on you. It's very small.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, I mean, we'll get into it. I mean, it literally opens up with Tom singing, "Everything has fallen to pieces. Earth is dying. Help me, Jesus. We need to be guidance. We've been misled. Young and hostile, but not stupid." I mean, I don't know about you guys.
I like that line.
Yeah, I think what an opening to this. This is stating like, oh, this is not even the Blink band you remember about.
I think Anthem Part 2 is probably one of the greatest album opening songs, like in general. It was just fucking drums hit, lyrics were perfect. The riff at the beginning, oh my God, that riff was great. Yeah, I could totally see your point where, he says young and hostile but not stupid, which shows what we were young, but we were young in Enema, blah blah blah. Now we're like, oh, we want to be taken serious now. So here's what we got to offer.
Yeah.
When all right, let's go back a little bit because there's something that connects to this, and I love it. David Bowie. We'll make a connection between.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of David Bowie. I'm gonna make a connection between David Bowie and Blink-182. David Bowie has the song Changes, and in the song Changes, he talks about that. In short, teenagers are very aware of what they're going through, but he uses children, which is actually much more applicable. Honestly, we kind of forget that as adults that like right now we're talking about 16, 17-year-old children. They're not, they might be teenagers, but they're not adults, they're children, but they're very aware of what they're going through. And this is very similar to that. That these kids, that what he's thinking about, what Mark's thinking about, or it's gonna be what Tom's thinking about in the song, they are very aware of what they're going through. We are young and hostile, but we're not stupid. We have inherited an environment that sucks, right? And who we have to blame? We got corporate leaders and politicians. We can't vote them out. Kids can't vote them out, but the adults have to. So it's kind of like a wake-up call back to the adults and be like, look at what you have brought us. Don't blame us if we're fucked up. We've inherited this.
If we're fucked up, you're to blame.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's what's the beauty of this. I love that it's just this kind of call to arms, like a unifying rallying call for the 2001 generation.
You know what's funny? I'm glad you said for the 2001 generation. I listen to this song very differently today in 2023. Because what I hear now is, first of all, everything is falling to pieces. Earth is dying, as our weather is heating up. But like it is saying to the parents of this time, right? The adults. So let's take a step back. They are singing about millennials as the youth, right? In 2001, right? Millennials are the young people, right?
Right.
And they're saying like, it's all the adults' fault. They're the ones who put these corporate leaders in charge, the politicians. If we're fucked up, you're to blame. I know this is not really what our podcast normally does, but do you think a lot of the issues we have today, they were warning them about that then, in a weird way? Like this is a very prescient song in that sense.
You're right. I think. Well, look, man, we've always, as a millennial generation, we've always been aware of these things that are coming, but we've always. I don't know if we say we kind of pushed them off a little bit, but we've always been aware that these are things that are happening, and we've done our parts here and there. But it's like Al Gore with the Inconvenient Truth. It's in around the same time frame that like, dude, this stuff's gonna happen to us. Sure, it's years later. Whatever he'll say, it's years later, but it's gonna happen to us, and it's a very prescient song that we can take this song and it's still applicable 22 years later. Where and you're like, yeah, it's still falling apart. Yeah, gosh, are we the generation where just things fall apart? Is that what we are?
It's funny how you say it's still applicable now, because I remember, I think this past election, when I went to go vote, I like did this whole typical Instagram story, like, hey, here's me voting, and then the song that I put to it was the song, specifically the part where he said corporate leaders, politicians, kids can't vote, adults elect them.
Yeah.
It's reminding them that, hey, man, we put people into positions, and as soon as you can vote, you ought to. And because if you want to see change, you're gonna have to get out there and let's borrow an MTV and wear an MTV T-shirt, an MTV term. Let's use "rock the vote" as a as a term, but get out there and vote, man. You don't like them, vote them out.
Not to preach politics, but your vote does count.
100%. Blink, not a political punk band. Not mainstreamly a political punk band, but heck yeah, I think. What's funny though, I say that phrase far too much, but what is funny though about Blink is they don't do, or at the time didn't do, heavier songs often. Mm-hmm. So when they do, I feel like they have more meaning.
Yeah.
Right, and we see that a couple times on this album. That they actually they take the time to do a meaningful, like a really meaningful song, not just a pop song, not just a punk song, but a real. Let's take a moment to say something. We have, they're starting to become a big band, so maybe they took their time to really because you don't see that as much on Anima, and particularly not Dude Ranch. Dude Ranch just a party album.
Yeah.
But they actually took a couple times to like, I want to say something of significant importance.
Well, I do think, it's like the funny thing about Blink-182 is if you take them off their joke songs or their live show where they got these ridiculous dirty jokes that they're constantly doing, the party aspect, they're like, oh, we're just, when they started out, they were like, oh, we're just the kind of band you listen to when you go snowboarding, party, but like they do get very sincere in their music, and
They do.
and this song especially, like, and I think this album is where they really lead into it, and then do it more the next album, where it's like, oh, these are like serious songs.
Right.
These are they're not jokes. I mean, are there joke songs? Well, we'll see as we go through the album, but yeah, it's I love this opener. I think Alan, you said this is a fantastic opener. It really made a statement to the people who found Blink on Enema, and to the people who are kind of coming on for this sophomore album with Travis. You know what? I don't know about you guys, but I really want to hear this song.
I think we should play this song. That's a good idea.
Yeah, definitely play it. Let's hear it.
All right. Here is Anthem Part 2 by Blink-182. All right, that was Anthem Part 2, the first song on Take Your Pants Off and Jacket.
I can't take that title seriously. I never.
23 years later, you're still giggling.
I still giggle about the 16-year-old in me just giggles.
We didn't spend a lot of time on the title, but like the funny thing about the title is no one would ever say that phrase that way. It's like,
no,
it's so, everything about it is like, it's such a forced pun.
It is, because you would say like, take off your pants. No, you would say, how would you say it?
Yeah, hey, take off your coat, take off your pants, stay a while.
Yeah, it's just, you wouldn't say take off your pants and jacket. I swear to God, every time I hear that, I have to giggle. It's just the 16-year-old. It's what ultimately, that's what I love about Blink-182, is that the 16-year-old in me comes back out and giggles for a second.
Yeah, well, a lot of my humor nowadays is like I make jokes. I make dirty jokes all the time. I make toilet humor jokes and all that bullshit. I'm like, listen, people get mad at me. I'm like, listen, I grew up on Blink-182. I'm sorry, not my fault.
My wife does not appreciate my my terrible sexual innuendo puns. Does not appreciate them whatsoever, which is fine.
Well, if I hear them, I'll appreciate them.
All right, thank you. I'll see if I can pass one along, and she'll be happy. She doesn't get to hear it one more time.
All right, so track one we would call a Tom DeLonge song, right? Because Tom is in leads, the vocals, pretty much the whole thing. You got some ahs from Mark in there, but for the most part, that's a Tom song. So track two has to be a Mark Hoppus song.
Obviously, it has to be a Mark song. Yep,
it's the formula.
Yeah, and track two is called Online Songs. Let me tell you about online songs. Let me tell you about Jeff in 2001 when he heard this song. He said, wow, this song is so modern. It's talking about the experience of having a crush on somebody on Instant Messenger and waiting for their screen.
Instant Messenger, baby.
Yeah, waiting for their screen name. I remember being like, wow, this song is so, it's so with it. It's really, it's not like my parents' music. It's talking to the youth of today. And here we are 23 years later, and boy, does it seem old-fashioned.
It did not age well at all. And it's sad because Online Songs is probably my second favorite Blink song of all time.
Well, there's so much to love about it. First of all, it's super fast.
It's punk.
Yeah.
Punk, it's fast, it's funny, it's fun, teenage angst, love. You get a roller coaster of emotions from this song.
You also, which they never do, have a callback to a previous character of a song. I mean, because Dude Ranch had a song called Josie, which was basically about Mark singing about this fictional girl, Josie, who is like the perfect girlfriend.
Who was played by Alyssa Milano in the music video, by the way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Classic video of them in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure I dyed my hair blonde to be like Tom in that video once, but that's fine. That's a whole other thing. And this one, the girl in question who he's waiting to have these online AOL Instant Messenger chats with is named Josie. So a little
opening line.
Yeah,
opening line. Josie, for my forcible frustration.
It makes me think of Jeff when you and I were in our college dorm room together and chatting with each other on Instant Messenger, 10 feet from each other. Like literally, I was like, "What are you doing right now?" And you write back, nothing much." And literally, we'd be on the opposite sides of the room, chatting with one another.
I wish AIM was still around. I fucking lived on AIM.
I used to have a like this cavalcade of like lines from songs that like, oh, this will fit right now. Be kind of moody if I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm away right now. Like I just random like dashboard line or something.
That was the original Twitter in a sense.
Yeah.
Away messages.
I still judge songs sometimes for their lyric prowess. If I'm like, you know that, if I had an AOL Instant Messenger today, I'd put that as an away message.
Yep, 100%.
Away message worthy lyrics. Still to this day, I think about them.
Did he break up with Did Josie break up with him in this song? What happened in this song?
Yeah, they broke up.
I know they broke up. Who did she break up with him, or did he break up with her?
It sounds like she broke up with him because he always says, "Why are you still hanging around when you know it brings you down? I'm hating everything."
And she was
why do you still keep it around when you know it brings you down? I'm hating everything. And that's him talking about her dating other guys and stuff like that,
or girls.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever, man. But
well, actually, you know what? I would hope that was like a thing, but he clearly states, and I know that you dated other guys, but I wonder why you leave it out for me.
Look, looking back at Blink-182's lyrics, they live in a very binary world in their lyrics.
They did.
Yeah,
they did.
I mean, some of the jokes they had on Mark, Tom, and Travis show.
I can't believe they released it. To tell you the truth, I mean, I can. No, I love it. I love the live versions, but some of the jokes are like, geez, dude.
I know.
Didn't Jeff remind me? Didn't you tell me that on Enema they were like told to keep it clean, like don't swear a whole lot, and so that's why on this album, particularly this album, they were like, we're going swears ahoy.
That was my working theory. I don't know if that's actually truthful. It was just I noticed when like Enema came out, I was like, there's like 3 fucks in this entire album,
right? Which is light for them,
which is light, and then this album comes out, and it's like, oh, okay.
Every other, I remember you telling me about that. And I was like, I feel like that's a thing because I feel like an Enema, although Enema might make dick and fart jokes like always, but like there's a real lack of swearing on it. Very clean for like radio friendly. How about that?
It's funny. It's funny because one of the long-standing rumors about Blink-182 was because obviously, like for those who don't know, Blink was originally only called Blink, not Blink-182. Right. They were only Blink, but then there was like some Irish band that had the name Blink already, so they had to add something. So the story goes they just added the 182, but there was always theories floating around as to why 182, and one of those theories was that they added the 182 because that's how many times Al Pacino said "fuck" in Scarface.
Yeah, I heard that one. I love that.
That's really funny. See, I always assumed it was because of the movie Turk 182 from the 80s that I always loved.
But nobody knows what that movie is.
Isn't
it about like a fireman or something?
That is no Turk 182. You know what? You're right. I think it is about a fireman. Now that I think about it, yeah, it's like some ultimately, and Timothy Hutton's in it, and that's all I really remember. And I remember it was like the lotto thing at the end, and he was able to call the numbers before the numbers came on the screen, and that's all I remember. But I was like, I bet they did that because they liked that movie as well. Although I can't even tell you what the movie's about now. Fireman and Lotto, and that's about all I can remember from that movie.
Well, I guess your homework, Phil, is to go home, and you are home, I guess. But when you're done with this podcast, go rewatch Turk 182 and do a full report for us.
All right.
Future episode back to online songs really quick.
Yeah.
Jeff, I don't know. I'm sure you were there for it. So during the pandemic, obviously Emo Nite could have happened. We're all shut down. So Emo Nite moved into Twitch streaming, just like every other artist and DJ and other artistic creative people moved into. So we all moved to Twitch, and for one of the first one of the first episodes, I guess, of Emo Nite on Twitch.
First Emo Nite streams?
Yeah. One of the first Emo Nite streams on Twitch, we had Mark Hoppus. He was our guest for that one, and I was lucky enough to play trivia against Mark Hoppus. We played Blink 182 trivia. Shout out to TJ and Morgan for making that happen. That was awesome. Although I will say, actually, you know what's funny too? Blink 182 Italia, the social media page on Instagram. They're a big social media page. Like Blink knows who they are. Anyways, I got posted on that and I got shit on so bad because I did terrible against Mark in trivia. So here's my official finding. Like, I can explain what the hell happened. So Mark was plugged in directly into the original Zoom broadcast for the Twitch, and I was plugged into like a third party like version of the Twitch. Like so basically when we're head like going up against each other in trivia, Mark heard everything before I did, so my reactions were very delayed. That's why I got tore up on that trivia. Although he did miss one of the questions, as did I, which I should have known, but I blinked out. It was the question. All right, let's see if you guys know this question.
Yeah, let's do it.
What were Blink 182's 2 number 1 hits on radio?
2 number 1 hits on radio.
2 number 1 hits.
I'm gonna say, "Damn It" and All the Small Things.
2 number 1. I'm gonna go a little deeper. I'm gonna say it was "Stay Together for the Kids" and "Rock Show."
So it was actually. Let me fact check this again because I'll probably fuck it up again. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and we gotta fact check this. I'm gonna fact check this in a bit, but I'm pretty sure it was All the Small Things and "I Miss You" was the other one.
Oh yeah, I forget how big of a miss you was.
That was the thing with me. Like, I totally forgot how huge "I Miss You" is.
I just feel like "Damn It" has been consistently on rock radio.
I mean, it was consistent, forever. But it just never hit that. It just never hit the charts as like All the Small Things did. And
I was betting on, like, okay, well, they didn't land number 1 on Enema, but they landed it on this one, so that's where I was betting on it.
I feel like All the Small Things was like the biggest they've ever had, though. Like, that's like
there's nothing bigger than that song for them. Yeah.
Which again goes back to the irony is the music video was spoofing all the boy bands and the pop.
Britney Spears, Christina
Aguilera. But like, they were a boy band, pop band, basically same level. You know, at that point, it's funny. It was just like they were like the gestures of that group.
Yeah. So I played trivia against Mark Hoppus on that, and then one of the surprises that I didn't know was going to happen was, I mean, I knew he was going to play a couple songs for us, or I don't know if he did 1 or 2. I knew he was going to play some stuff for us. What I didn't know was the fact that he was going to play online songs.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because they introduced it. TJ and Morgan introduced it. And I was like, holy shit. And I was like, Mark, just so you know, this is my number 2 favorite Blink song. And he starts laughing at me. He's like, number 2? Like, he's like, what's number 1? I was like, well, number 1's not now. I'm sorry.
He told him it was number 2. That's so funny. Yeah. I remember it happening and I was freaking out because I had never seen this song live. And I went to all the tours of Take Your Pants Off a Jacket, and they never played it when I saw them.
The highest Damn It ever landed, the Billboard Hot 100. It landed at number 61.
That's it?
That's it. On the for Billboard's Hot Modern Rock Tracks, it got a little higher, went to number 11.
So I think the official question was, what are the 2 songs that like hit the top 10? I believe. Because I don't think I know All the Small Things was technically their only number 1 song. I think the official wording of the question was like, what are the 2 ones that like hit top 10 or some shit like that? I don't remember what the official wording was.
That was awesome. That's what I love about Emo Nite. Just a shout out to Emo Nite again. That during the lockdown, them immediately jumping onto Twitch and like giving us a place to go and continue the euphoria that comes with being at Emo Nite and our
and the community
what we couldn't have. That was huge. I will always appreciate that.
And it's funny. I want to dive in a little bit deeper into this really quick. I'll keep it brief. But because of that, like because of the whole Twitch thing, we made that community grew so much stronger. On top of that, we created a Discord as well. So we do have an Emo Nite Discord. If you want to, I'm gonna plug really quick. If you want to join that, just we have a Patreon. You can join the Emo Nite Patreon, and that'll give you access to the Discord. But yeah, through the Discord and through the Twitch streams, we made so many friends, and the community grew so much bigger. And there are friends that I have from that time of life that are my best friends now, and they're spread out all over the country. It's a crazy part. Like I have shout out DJ in Texas, Chris in Texas, bunch of other people. Mish was in San Francisco. Shout out them. But yeah, anyways, plus on top of the core group that I had here in LA in California, like I made a bunch of other friends, so that was fucking awesome.
Well, you know what Emo Nite does is, Phil, I think you'll appreciate me saying it this way. They're about community, and even though there are other Emo Nites out there, the NITE one, there's no competition. It's the best.
No competition.
If you don't see the grave, it ain't our rave.
Exactly.
That's right.
Alan, speaking of Emo Nites,
competition. That's right.
Exactly. Alan, speaking of Emo Nites, you think anybody ever had their first date at Emo Nite?
Oh, 100%. I've probably I feel like I've seen 100%. I've seen like people on first dates at Emo Nite. You know when you see something like a first date happening, you could tell it's like a first date. You know, I feel like that definitely.
One guy is like, "Is it cool if I hold your hand?" The other guy's like, "I don't know. You think it's wrong if it's lame dance?" You know, going back and forth. The other guy's like, "Do you like my stupid hair?" And you're like, the other guy's like, "Would you guess I didn't know what to wear?" Because what we're talking about here is the third track, and the second single that was released on this album, "First Date," another Tom song.
Another Tom song. Supposedly written about his a trip he did to SeaWorld with his wife.
Yeah, it's like their first date, or his ex-wife.
First date, yeah, ex-wife at this point. You're right. That's right. Can I just tell you, this is the funniest fucking video ever.
This
is absurd. Just the
Chef's
opening.
Kiss.
It's just the opening alone is worth it. Just the 2 minutes. I mean, honestly, like father, like son.
Like father, like son.
You said it best, brother.
I can't even with their videos. Their videos are hilarious, and it's probably half the reason why they got so popular. Because honestly, I mean, sure, they're good-looking guys, they play good songs, but like they did funny music videos, and they're always kind of like memorable things. And this is definitely a memorable video. I also love, if you ever noticed, that Mark looks utterly bored during the band scenes where like they're playing. Did you ever notice him? He literally just like looking around, like bored to tears, playing the show. It's hilarious.
Yeah, and then we get that cameo from Chad Gilbert from Newfound Glory.
We do, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He hits the ball, you know, in the baseball scene. I mean, it's really, to me, it's like a Dazed and Confused video. Like, right, it's like takes place, I think, in 1974 in El Segundo, and their names though, like Boomer is Tom's name, and he's got the handlebar mustache. What's Mark's name in the video?
Oh crap!
You're gonna give me more trivia?
Sorry, I just Boomer. I can never forget. Like they do that thing at the end where they're like, "Where is everybody today?" Travis is still playing go-karts, and Mark
isn't his name still Travis?
It's still Travis. Yeah,
it's still Travis. Yeah.
Mark is. God, what is Mark's again? It's
killing me. What it was.
We're gonna figure this out. In the meantime, let's listen to First Date. And that is First Date. Alan, what is the name of Mark's character in the video?
So Mark's character's name is Spalding. So
Spalding. Yeah.
So the way not to forget that is think of the basketball. Spalding basketballs.
Perfect.
So Spalding, Boomer, and Travis.
Who drives go-karts full time.
Like I wonder, it makes me wonder if they asked them like, what do you want your character name to be? And Travis like, just Travis. I mean, like, I feel like he's just he's the quiet guy. It feels like that would fit for him because he's like the quiet dude with the other two very loud, non-quiet dudes.
Well, it's so funny because he's always kind of like they're doing the jokes, they're doing this crazy shit, and he's just kind of like there because he's the drummer. Like he's not like
he's like the straight man to the comedic bits that are out in front of him. Like, yeah, it's just so when he gets, I always felt like he always looks a little out of place. Like he feels like a little out of place in all the videos where they weren't, like particularly with First Date at the end when they're doing like the kind of the Bee Gees thing, and like
yeah.
and like Travis is like he's in for it, but like he's not full commit like the other two. But I don't expect that from him, which actually makes it even funnier that he looks a little uncomfortable being the character.
Yeah, it's funny.
But
what do you guys think about this song First Date? What are your feelings on it?
It's a song about a first date. I get it.
Yeah,
it's a song about being nervous on a first date, man. It's not a deep dive on this one, but
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
How many times have you played First Date on a first date?
On or like before the date, just to kind of get yourself.
Okay, you know what? Let's open it up a little bit. Let's do before the first date, like when you're getting ready for the first date, or.
I might have played this relatively near the first date before I went out with my wife. So yeah, that might have happened.
You know what? I don't think I ever have, and maybe that's why I'm single. So maybe in the next one, I will break the curse and play First Date.
I will debunk that rumor because I've played it in the car where the girls are in the car already with me on quite a few first dates.
So it's not a good omen. It's not a good omen.
No, I'm still single, so
2 out of 3, not a good omen.
No, I feel like they might. Okay, because I just played it for myself. I'm like, yeah, let's go first date. I'm gonna get ready. I'm a little nervous. It's cool, but I feel like playing it for another person on the first date that might be a flag. I don't know what color that flag is yet. I'll think on it a little more, but I know it's definitely a flag.
Well, the funny thing is we have a red plane and a green jacket, so that could be.
I got all the flags I need. The yellow flag, the yellow or the beige flag. That's what they call it now, the beige flag. So we'll put that in there as well.
That's First Date. Very straightforward, very fun. I mean, it was
a great single, and
it's a banger.
Such a good song live.
It's a banger. Yeah, it's a great pop tune. It really is. Unlike the next song, which is certainly not a pop tune, but just as good a banger.
Happy holidays, you bastard.
You bastard. Is it weird to do an album that releases in June and to throw a Christmas holiday song on there?
No, because it's also Labor Day song.
Labor Day is the more important holiday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Labor Day.
Because Grandpa has hot dogs.
Yeah, all the glizzies.
Oh my God, this song. I remember just listening to it and be like, I wish I was like 12 or 13 when like I wish I was your age.
It hit the perfect time.
I would have cranked this because this is a song just to piss your parents off.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. And that's okay with me.
I love that they still play this live. Like on this tour, they played it twice, back to back live. They did it once at regular speed and then once at super fast speed.
Well, you know what's funny about that, and I felt to this day I enjoy this song and crank it. And I was very excited to hear them play it twice at the current tour. They're not calling it the reunion tour, but we know it's the Mark, Tom, and Travis reunion tour. They just didn't say it. But in 2001 and 2002, when they toured this album, they also played it twice.
Oh, yeah.
They've always played it twice.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a 30-second song, ladies and gentlemen. They can do that, right? So
right. Yeah, it's a filler. Wait, Jeff, do you know what the actual name of this last tour was? Because I don't feel like the name was officially promoted.
What is the tour of the most recent tour name?
The name of this last tour that they just got off of was the Rock Hard Tour.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard that.
Yeah, it was the Rock Hard Tour because first off, I saw it on a couple posters and flyers for like some of the dates. It was only online that I saw that, but also if you look at the posters and flyers and stuff like that, it was on construction.
So, oh yeah.
Rock
Hard makes sense.
Okay, they're very good at puns.
Oh, they're fucking great.
I've always appreciated as a English major myself. I appreciate a good pun.
Hey Phil, is it okay if we play this one?
Absolutely, it is.
Wait, well, you got to play it twice.
All right. Here we go. Happy holidays, you bastard. Twice. That was Happy Holidays, You Bastard, a charming song about holidays with the family, especially Grandpa. Anyway, here is Story of a Lonely Guy.
Maybe that's Grandpa, the lonely guy.
This is just Tom DeLonge being a sad emo kid.
This is a sad emo kid. This is a song about this is a song of just self-loathing, loathing, and I feel like it's very Cure inspired.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I feel like everything but the chorus is very Cure-ish. Maybe Smithish. Late 90s, late 80s, early 90s, kind of the preface to emo. I feel like that's where this song was.
I can hear the Cure influence on it, on the guitars.
Yeah, it's just the way the vibe I get in the front of it. I feel like I feel it's the first time they do kind of like well, is that right? Maybe a full embrace of the emo world. Where I mean, it's even called "Story of a Lonely Guy." This is the emoist song.
How much more emo can you get?
I mean, unless we got into like the emo titles, where like "Story of a Guy" (parentheses) my dog walking down the street took a shit or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Classic.
What are you gonna say, Jeff?
Oh, I was gonna say again, looking in 2001 when this is happening, I think it's interesting that they were very much paying attention to what was happening in the scene at this time, because between Enema 99 and this one, I feel like emo started. The modern take of emo really started around here, right? And they were very much, to borrow a phrase from Fall Out Boy, poster boys of the scene. This album, they were wearing all black for the most part. Tom actually had the
hair,
flat iron swoop. So like it felt like they were kind of like seeing these bands that were coming up around them, like Newfound Glory and Saves the Day and all these other bands, and they were like, let's lead into that. And I feel like this song fits into that.
I had to get up and get my vinyl copy of it.
Yeah, me too.
There it is.
Yep. Look at the all black.
Yep, that's the image I'm thinking of. Yeah.
I don't think I picked up on that. That's a really good point. I mean, but I like this song because it's a very I feel like it's a personal song. I think it's something we can all relate to. Is that you're the one who got it's just so sad. The lowly, the self. Oh my God! Like, look at that with the hair.
Look at that! Like, that's so emo.
Emo hair, man, of the early 2000s, and hair and hair
also
now are very similar.
One thing I really appreciated about this album was, for those of you who are listening, I am showing my vinyl right now, and I'm opening the gatefold.
We're at the gatefold, yeah.
Yeah. So the gate, I love that they had a little symbol for every single song.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they had that on the CD. They had that on the CD version. But like each one, literally, like you have the flag for Anthem, you have the computer for online songs, condom for first date, bottle in a stocking for Happy Holidays, You Bastard. You have a fist for this song, Story of a Lonely Guy.
I never really realized that.
Yeah.
We got it.
Masturbation, baby. Then you got the devil horns for Rock Show. You got the kids crossing for Stay Together for the Kids. You got a roller coaster sign for Roller Coaster. You got handcuffs for Reckless Abandon. Binoculars for Every Time I Look for You. And then the number middle
finger for
middle finger for Give Me One Good Reason. And then a face with the mouth taped up for Shut Up, and then a house for Please Take Me Home.
Those all I like icons that make sense.
Yeah.
To it.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I love the lyrics in this song. I feel, although it feels so 2001 reading it, the lyrics is like, I get too scared to move because I'm just a fucking boy. And I'm always like, is the parallel a man? Like, would a man go do all these things versus a boy? Or is like, what do you get for a parallel for that?
Well, it's funny. I see what you're saying. I like this song and that line because I feel like we've covered songs on this podcast from other bands where it gets a little incel-y and angry at the girl.
Yeah.
And in this one, he's just angry at himself for not basically having the nerve.
Right, the gumption to actually go for it. I think that's and I
Yeah.
think that's a relatable thing, and I do appreciate you saying that because we've done other shows where the blame gets placed elsewhere versus on self, and I actually appreciate that it comes from that perspective. Like he didn't go for it.
But it's a very relatable thing, like seeing somebody, especially, well, I guess anytime you have a crush on somebody, you're at the grocery store, you have a chance to talk to them, and like you don't do it, and you miss your opportunity. I mean, there's not much else to this song. It's 2 verses.
Yeah.
Right,
You know?
right. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's didn't take a shot, didn't take his chance. He should have, as opposed to the person in Rock Show.
Oh, the rock show person. They take
The
a
Rock
chance.
Show.
person, they took a chance.
Not
Actually,
only did they take the chance, they went full dive into it.
head first. Although I'm going to question that. I actually have to question that with Rock Show. So like, yeah, okay. So Rock Show's we're at the Warp Tour.
We are
meets a
at the Warped
girl.
Tour.
Dude meets a girl, fall in love. They meet mom. Mom's like, you guys aren't going to make it. And they're like, whatever, we're going to make it. We're going to be totally cool.
Said, "Fuck you, mom."
Yeah.
Well, what I also like about that, the setup, he met her at the Warped Tour the previous year, I take it as.
Oh,
See,
oh,
that's
yeah.
what I want to ask, because at the end of the song, he says, I'll never forget tonight with the girl at the Rock Show. Does he imagine this entire relationship, or is this really like,
Oh, or is this a foreshadow? Like, yeah, is this a foreshadowing of like what he pictures the relationship?
like did he have a whole like he caught eyes with this girl at the Rock Show, and like the middle of the pit, you lock eyes with somebody, and then he had a whole relationship with them in his mind, or like was there an actual relationship?
Good question.
I love that reading of it, and it feels right to me because I feel like that makes the song even smarter to me, because that is a feeling. Like, how many times in your life, especially growing up, did you like see somebody and like imagine what it would be like to date that person or have that person in your life, and then actually never meet them because circumstances or whatever, but you do have that moment of like, oh, what could this be?
Right.
You know what
Yeah.
kind of leans into that? The lyric, he says, because I fell in love with the girl at the Rock Show. She said what, and I told her that I didn't know. I feel like that part could be him locking eyes with the girl, staring at her because he's like enamored by her, and then she's like,
Oh,
what?
she's just
She's like, what? Like, yeah, like what?
Yeah.
What are you looking at?
I didn't put that together, but I feel like that can, I just said that, I'm like, well, that totally connects. I can see that. Yeah, we're gonna move to Vegas. It's all this stuff that what we're gonna do. I feel like it's
Yeah.
really gonna. But I feel like that. See, Jeff, I think that what you just said really smart, because I've read or I've heard that this album has been loosely described as a concept album in a sense of like snippets of adolescence, and I feel like that's very accurate to do that. Like you like you said, you go to a show, you go anywhere, you go to he talks about grocery stores. He goes to the grocery store. He's like, I fell in love with a girl, in grocery stores. That was the last song, but still the same kind of concept is there, that you see somebody, you have this fleeting moment where you're like, oh, are they looking at me? And that's really funny though, Alan, you said that. She's like, what?
What?
Yeah.
Why are you looking at me? I don't know. And like you just move on.
Well,
and then I think
sorry.
the bridge goes. Sorry, I think the bridge goes into that too. Where he says, black and white picture of her on my wall. I waited for her call. She always kept me waiting. And if I ever got another chance, I'd still ask her to death because she kept me waiting. So that makes it seem like, again, he back to Story of a Lonely Guy. It sounds like he saw the chance there, he didn't take it. And then he's like, if I ever got another chance, I'd still ask her to dance.
Well, I'm really enjoying now that the connection between this and the previous song, because the previous song, he gets really depressed about it. But this song doesn't, there's still hope in this song. There's still kind of like that imagination is strong, right? Like he's imagining this future with this person and he's hoping for another chance. Where the last one, it feels like really self-deprecating.
Self-deprecation. Pretty good segue into the next song.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this song.
Yeah. So this is, and also we're coming to the last song on the first side of the record.
Is this what closes it? Is Stay for the Kids, Stay Together for the Kids what closes
it's the
it?
first 7 songs is the first. side A. Stay Together for the Kids. I think one of the most important Blink-182 songs, pivoting what direction they're going to be headed in.
I would agree. I would completely agree on that.
I'd agree. It's and if I think I do my math right, this is the only song where it's equal parts that Tom and Mark are both singing together, and that way they each get the 6 other songs, and here's the one where they come together. This is a fantastic song. I hate the title, but I love it.
Really?
I hate the title. Because I feel like it's not the point of the song.
No, I feel like it's 100% the point of the song because
it's good. Go talk to me about it because I was hoping someone would disagree with me.
Yeah.
So I can hear. I mean, perspective.
I mean, more so solely because of the video. The music video starts off 50% of marriages end in divorce, and the title "Stay Together for the Kids" is usually what happens a lot of times with situations that most likely will end up in divorce. They'll try to stay together for the kids. Maybe it's not the healthiest thing, but
see, that's where I always get back to is like I'm not a product of divorce, so I'm coming from admittingly a privileged world where I did not deal with that, and I'm acknowledging that right away. So when I hear a phrase, it's better to stay together for the kids versus not staying together for the kids. I always debate what's really the smarter thing to do. And I think it's much more situational than an absolute word.
100%. Yeah.
You should stay together for the kids. Because I mean, now I'm gonna tell you right now, I love this song. Like this is such a good song. It's a very deep song. It's I almost want to say like a cathartic song for Tom. To get it out there, being a product of child of divorce.
Well, Mark was also a child of divorce.
They both were, yeah.
So they both were. So I love that they have this moment, and it really kind of oddly made my day. I watched the video, and on YouTube you can see all the chats of all these kids writing in saying like, "Thank you for writing this. I feel like I have a voice," and I love when the song does that.
Oh yeah.
I never liked it. I always felt the title's not what the song's about. I think the song's more about telling other kids out there that we've been there and like we can connect on that. So that's always been my question with the title.
That's fair.
Now I'm wondering, is it Stay Together for the Kids? Is that the mentality that the parents have in the song? Now that you brought that up, Alan, I was actually just wondering that. Is that's the mentality the parents had in the song, which is why they took 7 years of fighting after being together for 20, I guess, or fighting for 7. So that makes me think a little differently about the title.
I always thought the title was the narrator almost kind of desperately begging for them not to break up and stay together with the kids, even if they are one of the kids themselves. Like, because it feels like that to me is what the whole song is. Like they're kind of like going through and they're saying things like, anger hurts my ears. Been running strong for 7 years. Rather than fix problems, they never solve them. We get along, so why can't they? Like this is it's the plead to the parents.
Yeah, this is Mark writing his perspective of what he went through. He saw his parents going through the struggles they were. I mean,
the saddest part, I think, is the holiday line. So here's your holiday. You gave it all away. It was mine, and you gave it away. And I just feel that is as a parent now, thinking of how that's a harrowing thought to think that I took something from my kids would mess me up as a parent. And I just to hear that line, so funny to hear that line younger and versus now is kind of a different vibe.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like that's the line that's always stayed with me about this song, is that you took from me something that I cannot get back. Sure, it's a metaphor of the holiday, but I think it's just maybe it's the metaphor of innocence in general.
Yeah, the metaphor of having like I had a happy family and you took it away from me.
In the house, right? And maybe just because even the video gets into with the wrecking ball is coming in there and like knocking down the
demolishing it,
demolishing what they're playing. Yeah.
So it's funny because they actually had to alter this video because of 9/11.
Yeah.
There was a whole different version of this video
Hmm.
that got filmed, but because of 9/11, they had to alter it because it was like a wrecking ball, like actually wrecking the house and stuff like that, and like it was the images were very similar to the tower collapsing. So that was a thing.
You know, we didn't bring it up earlier, but this album does talk about June 2001. It comes out. They're on tour still post 9/11.
Yeah.
And I feel like this album very much is of that time. So it's like interesting, like that they had that thing. But even on Anthem Part 2, where it says, you know, Earth is dying, you know, help me, Jesus. Like that whole opening of like despair. I remember reading an article about their first show back and how that just sounded different, you know, had a different connotation to it. Because they were literally like, you know, this just happened. And the whole, you know, in the US at least, people were like very confused about what was happening next.
Yeah.
And I think for this album, for Blink, it's the first time I think, if I do all my math right and think back on it, it's the first time you have the emotion of anger on one of their albums, and like in a bunch of songs, like real anger, like actual anger, versus just, you know, trying to be funny or trying to be like pissed off or whatnot. This is like anger.
Yeah. And there's angst, and
and I think it fits, and I think I can imagine this album coming out really hitting home, you know, and this comes out in June, a couple months later, a lot of bad stuff happens, and I think this is like one of the albums that the kids latched onto because of there's such an anger angst to it that they can like, I feel that too. I don't know what's going to happen next, and so you latch onto an album like this. Makes total sense.
Yeah,
you know,
I actually looked up the tour routing. They didn't have any shows on September 10th or 11th. I don't know if the last couple shows got pushed back or what, but so there was a show. They did Mountain View, California on September 9th, and then they didn't play until September 14th when they went to Phoenix, and then September 19th in Long Beach, and then September 21st with the end of the tour in Chula Vista.
Yeah, I bet some of those dates were changed.
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder what. Like, I wonder what. Like, I mean, I'm sure I can look it up. I'm not going to look it up right now.
That's right. Yeah. Well, good. I think the other part of this song too is just the post-chorus. You know, it's not right. Tom just keeps saying it's not right over and over again. Also, I could see that people attaching themselves to that. I'm thinking it now, like, you know, just looking at what's been happening in the news, it's not right. Also, very much a soundtrack moment here. I also love the instrumentation in this song. I think, and this is the song where I'm like, oh, this is what the next album's going to be more like. It's a little heavier. It's definitely denser. There's a lot more going on. The opening reminds me of Carousel in some ways, but like Carousel was like one of their first songs they ever wrote. I think it's the first song they ever wrote.
I think it's the first song they ever wrote. Yeah.
But it's like reminiscent of that. But it's like, okay, I'm remembering Carousel with the opening, the way it sounds, but like, look how much more is going on now, these years later.
Yeah, I mean, because Carousel was a straight up punk song.
Yeah,
riff, drum, space. This one has like layers to it because you have the guitar, the bass, drums. You got piano somewhere in there.
Yeah,
you got like, there's a lot going on.
And also, like, you know, Phil, you mentioned early on, they hit upon something in this song, which I'm surprised it took them this many albums to realize what a powerful tool it is to have them both sing on a song. It really like makes it so much more dynamic.
It adds such a different level of complexity to the song. It elevates the song. I think they're at their best when they're working together.
And it's interesting.
It's like that with Alkaline Trio or Lawrence Arms or all that. It's when the two are together. The songs are just better.
That's one of my favorite things in music when they have dueling vocalists. Taking Back Sunday, Blink. Who else fucking does that shit? I mean, I guess Fall Out Boy does it a couple times.
Hall & Oates.
Yeah. Oh, Hall & Oates, yeah.
Hall & Oates.
No, but I love the dueling fucking vocalists. It's so it scratches my brain on the right.
I wonder. Now I'm gonna look it up. So there used to be a thing called call notes. Call notes. There was an 1-800 number that you would call, and then they'd be like, for this song, press 1. For this song, press 2, and you would do it, and they'd play the song.
Wow, that's fun. Well, a couple more things on this one, just for in context of Blink history, because we now have so many of them. In 2009 or 10, I'm not sure which, they got back together after their first breakup.
2009. They announced it 2008.
Yes. So 2009, I went to the show at the Palladium in Hollywood. And I remember before they played this song, Mark kind of had this little like emotional moment where he says, there was this band and like they broke up, but they realized they needed to stay together for the kids. And that's why we're back. And he kind of used this title to kind of like announce it, like we're back and it will never break up again. But then they did again.
It was Irvine. It was in Irvine. They did it at the Irvine.
I went to the Palladium show, whenever that was in Hollywood, for this.
Palladium show? I don't think they did the Palladium for this tour.
Oh, they definitely did, because they played Josie. I had never seen Josie live before, and it blew my mind.
That was the 10-year anniversary of the self-titled.
I think that was at the Wiltern.
No,
and Palladium. They did both. Yeah. But this was not. This was before that. This was literally when they first got back together, before they did Neighborhoods. Or maybe we're around right before Neighborhoods came out. They played a show there. The other thing about this one, real quick.
Oh yeah, that was one of the bonus shows. That's right.
The bonus show, yeah. There's that, and then the other thing. Now, what Mark likes to say is before he plays it, he tells everybody to push their hair down and get all emo because they're about to get really sad. So I think we should all get sad and we should listen to this song.
Go ahead and play it.
Stay Together for the Kids by Blink-182. Well, guys, we've been on quite a ride this podcast. We've been on a roller coaster of emotions. So it's perfect. The next song is called Roller Coaster.
Song by Mark.
Mark's song. Actually, this is one of my favorite songs off the album. This is one of the standouts for me that wasn't a single. It's just such a fun song. I mean, aside from Roller Coasters being fun, song's very fun. Has all the good stuff, all the good Mark stuff. Mark's writing on this was great. I think, it was good.
For me, the song kind of wasn't always my favorite. The first half of the song, the lyrics, I didn't really love the way he's saying in the lyrics early on. But as the song goes, it gets better for me. And then when it kicks into high gear after the bridge, that's when I love it. Like I feel like a
roller coaster.
Exactly. And that's why I actually that's why I think the song is smart, because it starts off kind of slow and and then it is it's a ride, and I appreciate that part of it.
Yeah, so on this last tour, they had date specific shirts, a lot of the one I'm kind of wearing right now. And each like on the back of it, each like one is a different artwork. And one of the ones, I think it was one of the New York it was either New York or New Jersey. I can't remember which one of the shows. The artwork on the back was the Blink Bunny on a roller coaster. And the roller coaster had painting on it, and it said "Let me kiss you one last time" on it. And I really wanted that fucking shirt so bad because I love the song, but I never got it. If anybody has it, Max, send it out to me.
It's a thrill ride. The song, like a relationship, right? It's got you're in the anticipation of it. It's terrifying. I hate roller coasters because I used to like them. I hate them now. But it's the anticipation of the ride. I didn't even pick up on the fact that it's like a roller coaster. It like gains speed. That's a great. I didn't even pick up on that. Good job.
Yeah, and then it has that little lull in the middle where it kind of just like.
Well, you're kind of like going up, and you're like, oh, and then you're going down the hill. I think that's that's what I don't like about roller coasters anymore. My anxiety levels come out to no end, particularly when you get to that top. You're like, oh, this is about to go.
Well, just like some relationships, they're kind of like roller coaster rides. There's ups and downs, and that's what this song really hits well. Interesting, it's a relationship song. I also noticed in this album, you have these like either relationships or relationships not working out, or not even be able to date somebody. There's a lot of the stuff in the romance stuff, and the other side of it is this like yay teenagers.
And like looking back about teenagers. Well, yeah, even then the next song even gets right into Reckless Abandon is a look back
Yeah.
without rosy colored glasses on being a teenager. Definitely a look, like an honest look back. Well, I think at this point the band's, they're in their mid-20s, right?
Probably mid or late 20s. Yeah, at this
Mid
point.
late 20s, looking back on, and like, I don't know. It's Reckless Abandon is a very odd song because it like I feel like it wants to be the song about how cool it is to be a teenager, but then you kind of list all the things you did, and you were like, "Wow, these things left scars on
Yeah.
on us." And I feel like it's not all good that what we did back then, you know?
So have you guys ever listened to the song on like either good speakers or good headphones?
Mm.
If you listen to the song on like good speakers or headphones, at the beginning, the very very beginning, the first couple lines, you hear on your left ear, you hear Tom singing on and reckless abandon. So, you hear Tom, but if you take off the left ear or like shut off the sound to the left side, you could hear them talking in the background. It's very inaudible. You don't know what they're saying. I think Mark's been asked about what like if he knows what they were saying, but he thinks it was just them talking like while the track was being recorded and you could hear it. But
Hmm.
but
I
yeah,
saw, I never heard it, but Genius, the place where all truth comes from, geniuslyrics.com. They said that their claim it's Mark and
Jerry Finn.
Jerry Finn talking about metal bands.
Oh really?
Yeah, but it is Genius, so they kind of make up their own reality sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like Genius is like the lyric version of Wikipedia where everybody can make
Yeah.
whatever they want.
Yeah,
exactly.
you can write what you want. I still have to write in my Chemical Romance notes. I still have to get to that. But what if, I just like that he's looking back at his life and being a kid and like doing a lot of crazy stuff, and it like, but the whole point of the summer was to have fun, right? And then, but this is what they were doing to have fun. Like, what was the one they took a shit somewhere? And I was like,
Yeah, he
really?
took a shit in the bath. He took a shit in the bathroom tub, fed the dog brownie drugs, tried hard to not get caught. He fucked a chicken in the parking lot.
I mean, that sounds like summer to me.
Yeah,
I
summer
guess.
college time. Yeah.
And but the always goes back to we left a car. We left a scar size extra large. Like
Yeah.
all these things had an impact on us, and he's even like the titles matter,
I was
right?
gonna say, yeah.
The title matters. He's talking about having reckless abandon as a child. Again, I'm gonna say before with the kid. Technically, these are children. I think, they're teenagers.
I mean 18, 19, whatever.
But it's like he's living with reckless abandon,
Mhm.
and it doesn't necessarily. That's not painted in a good light this time.
Yeah, I love that the song's a set staple. This is a very fucking. I love the song live, like the song, and then hot take. But I actually really liked Matt Skiba on this song when Tom was out of the band for a while. But I think this was probably Skiba's best song. Like that wasn't his song.
It really fits his voice really well.
I was gonna say, actually, I feel like I can hear him sing this song, and who doesn't want to say extra large as a call sing along part?
Yeah, and I noticed that Skiba would do. I think Tom does it too, but Skiba would do a pick slide on the guitar, like when it would kick into the chorus, and that was very nice.
Well,
Jeff,
they were reckless abandons, had reckless abandonment, but it caught up with them in the end because they have scars size extra large. So maybe
extra large.
You really can never have reckless abandon because eventually consequences.
There's gonna be consequences to it. That's 100%. Jeff, you know that every time I look for you, I find you.
Oh yeah, well, you usually text me first.
Usually it's what I do.
Yeah.
Usually it's what I do. I'll text you first and then be like, "Hey, come talk to me," and then you come talk to me. What do you guys think about this song?
It's another song about teenage love. Also, the fucking start to American Pie 2, which is one of the reasons I love that movie so much.
It's so funny. I hear the opening of this song and I see the Universal logo in my head.
Same,
like
same, dude. It's fucking same. Also, I know we're not talking about this album, but when I hear Mutt off of Enema, I see fucking Jim running to his house to go find Nadia. But yeah, I huh?
Travis is in the cameo in American Pie, right? It's
All three, all three of them, all
yeah,
three of
it
them.
is. It is.
It was
three of them.
one of Travis's first big Blink moments, and there's also a
Yeah.
monkey.
Yeah, it's
That's
I think they said that that was the same monkey that played Marcel in Friends.
Was it the same monkey that was also in
Outbreak.
Outbreak? Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that monkey is very, very successful.
Yeah. So the funny thing about the American Pie cameo by Blink was that Travis was actually credited as Scott Raynor.
Ooh.
Oh. Whoopsie doodles. That's.
But anyways, back to Every Time I Look for You. Yeah, it's a really fun song. Again, like Jeff said, every time I hear the intro, I see the Universal logo kicking up. Yeah, I mean, it's another teenage love song, and I feel like that's a recurring theme on this album, obviously.
Yeah,
I definitely feel like we are in the filler part of the album a little bit here on this song. Like I think it's a good song. It's a solid song. I don't. If I go see Blink-182 live, I'm not like this isn't very high on my list. Like, oh my god, I have to play this. Yeah. But you know, it's as you said, it's another relationship song. You know,
yeah, it's definitely a filler song, but I do enjoy the chorus. I think
the chorus is good. Yeah,
yeah. I think it's a very good chorus.
The only question I have with it is is the dude trying to get the answer for his buddy? Because like we never found out why you left him, and the whole rest of it is I like first person narrator. So it's just I don't know. It feels very fillery, not a fully fleshed out song.
Well, I don't know. Maybe like I never found out why you left him. Like, is this person the person they're admiring? Had they been waiting to like ask them out and find them, and found out they were like just broke up with somebody?
Oh, okay.
That kind of thing.
Yeah,
he's trying to slide into their DMs.
Yeah. Their IMs at that time.
Yeah, slide into the IMs.
Sorry, but my away message was up, so that's not going to happen. Yeah, there's not much. I feel it's a filler song.
Yeah, 100% is, but
I feel like Give Me One Good Reason is not a filler song. Am I wrong on that one?
Well,
are we still kind of in the fillery range?
I think we're coming out of it here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not too long ago. Mark did he goes live on Twitch so every once in a while. And he'll do a Q&A session and stuff like that. And one of the Twitch streams that he did, they went back and listened to this album, and they were trying to decide what else could have been a single if not because I think Rock Show and First Date were added on only because the record label told them like, hey, we need like something that we can play on the radio. Like all this stuff is great, but none of it's like single worthy. So they went back and wrote like First Date and Rock Show, I believe.
Yeah, like they were apparently like pissed when I read. They were kind of pissed. They said that. They said, fine, we'll write you a cheesy single that will get a lot of play. And Tom went and wrote First Date, and Mark went over and wrote Rock Show. Yeah. And they became the two of the biggest Blink songs of all time. So
yep.
There's a lesson there, I guess. I feel like this would have been a single. I bet it was. Now that you're saying that, Give Me One Good Reason, because it's so much about I like the punk kids, the ones who listen to the punk rock. It's not just an anthem about being a teen, it's an anthem about being a punk teen.
With that line specifically, there was like I don't know, I wouldn't call it a meme, but there was like an internet graphic that was like meant for, I guess it's like Tumblr era stuff, but it was an internet graphic that said I like the ones who listen to the punk rock, and people were posting it like talking about either the boys and girls that like, or and I always found that to be fun.
I hate the jocks, the preps, the hippie fucking scumbags.
Heavy meddlers with their awful pussy hair bands is fucking hilarious.
It's hilarious. And I was like, I whenever I hear it, I'm like, yeah, that kind of sums up how I felt in high school. I don't need these people. These people suck. Fuck them. I don't. They're the Pennywise had a song called "The Perfect People," and I always thought that was the same kind of thing. Like fuck them. It even says that at the end of every time they play that one. At the end of it, they're like fuck them, because that's right. That's how I feel. It's a fun song about nonconformity.
Did you guys ever piss anybody off with what you wore? Like, did you guys wear something to piss like people off?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Alan, because in my youth, I purchased a Blink-182 shirt during the Enema days with the pill on the front,
the logo,
and on the back, it had the lyrics to the song "Family Reunion" listed out.
Oh yeah, I had a shirt like that too. Because
And
they released one. They re-released it one time.
well, I still have it at my dad's house, but like I remember wearing it and being like, "Oh man, my parents are gonna hate this." And my dad's response was, "They stole that from George Carlin."
Yeah, right. And that's really
Um,
that's so your dad too. He was so say that. That's hilarious.
yeah, I had that shirt too because I think on one of the Blink 180 or on the so July 1st is known as like 182 day because it's the 182nd day of the year. And I think one of the 182 days they released it as a limited of like 182 shirt. Um, and I bought it and I wore it and I put it as my Facebook profile picture for a while.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Phil, do you want to give me one good reason why we should play this song?
Because it's awesome. That's why I should play this song.
Sick. Here it is. Give me one good reason. Could it have been a single? Who knows? Here it is. Phil, stop telling me to shut up.
No, I've been doing it for years. No, I take that back. Usually you say such witty, wittiful and clever things. So no, I'm not gonna tell you to shut up.
Well, thank you. Shut Up is a wittiful song. Well, not really. It's a very angry song.
It's a very angry
Talking
song.
about anger earlier, this might be the angriest Blink-182 song.
So going back to the Twitch streams that I was talking about when Mark touched on all these like where he went back and like re-listened to the album and tried to decide what song was gonna be a single. This was one of the songs. Well, he hates the song. Mark has personally said he fucking hates the song. He said he thinks the writing's lazy and it's just like not a good song.
Interesting. And it's a Mark song, so he's criticizing himself here.
Yeah.
I mean, but I appreciate it's ultimately a song about telling yourself you're done with a toxic relationship, and that's a good thing. Like, let's get up. Be like, shut up. He's telling him to shut up. Shut the fuck up. I guess now that you said that, I guess I kind of feel like where I can see the lazy writing coming in because it's a lot of just talking to a person and saying a lot of like there's not a lot of use of metaphor he's used in a couple other songs. So I guess I can see that. Yeah. But I think it's the overall emotional outburst that I appreciate.
Yeah.
I don't
know. There's a rawness to it, which it's funny because it doesn't sound like any other song Mark's ever done. On any of his bands from
no, I think you could go along with No It Isn't by Plus 44 because it has that like fuck you mentality.
It does, but No It Isn't, I think, is the opposite of what he's saying lazy. Like I think that song is very
okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
To touch on that, to jump on that piggyback, Plus 44's album When Your Heart Stops Beating is easily Mark's best writing ever. That whole album, flawless, front to back, in my opinion. Mark's writing is the fucking best. And my favorite Mark song is on that album. It's Baby Come On.
For those at home don't know, Plus 44, when Blink broke up the first time, Tom started Angels and Airwaves. So Mark and Travis started Plus 44.
hang on. I'm going to jump back a hot second. Tom, Story of a Lonely Guy. Knowing he goes on to do Angels and Airwaves, re-listen to that song. It sounds like an early Angels and Airwaves song. It's very curious.
That's right. That's really cool.
What is it? The delay effect or the reverb effect?
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I totally forgot. I was like, oh wait, I should say that. That sounds very wittiful. I should say that. But then I forgot to say it. Now I got to say it here, so I'm pretty happy.
All right, shut the fuck up. I want to talk about the song.
All right, shut the fuck up.
Just kidding. No, but yeah, I fucking love Shut Up. I remember blasting it and screaming these fucking lyrics, just like if I was the one saying like all the lyrics to somebody and stuff.
It reminds me of Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit. It's just one of those songs. It's hilarious. Like it's like, yeah, you know what? Shut the fuck up. And I'm gonna bring Limp Bizkit into the show.
You sure did.
I sure did.
I'm not fuck off. I'm not listening. I'm not coming home. I'm never going to come back home. I mean, I think that's just. I mean, it's interesting that this is the penultimate song.
Penultimate.
And this song, I understand the sequencing because he's saying, I'm done with this. I'm not coming home. I'm never going to come back home. And then our next song, the last song, is called Please Take Me Home.
Yeah, very, very segue.
Take me home tonight. No, that's a different song. Please take me home. I think this is a cautionary tale, maybe. Don't end up dating people you're friends with.
Yeah, it's an interesting song because it's
Yeah.
like it's a relationship didn't go well, and there's regret, and there's
Yeah, should have stayed friends, I guess. I mean, it's just
It kind of sounds like the sister song to Story of a Lonely Guy. A
oh,
little bit
all
more
right,
angry.
all right, I get that. Yeah, I get there. I mean, it's definitely like, yeah, I'm like, why did you guys get together? Did you guys want to get together? I mean, maybe you did. There's attraction there. I also feel like it doesn't feel like a last song.
I don't think so either. Yeah, I
I
feel
don't.
the same
I
way.
feel. Yeah, I feel like it's not a. I think Blank's always, to be honest, I think they've always kind of struggled with a good opener and a good closer, and every album has either one or the other.
I think Untitled actually had a good opener because the closer was phenomenal.
Yeah, but what you already said. I mean, self-titled's on my desert island.
Overall, I think I agree too, though, that they never really have a solid like opener and closer. It's either one or the other.
Like I feel like they either have one or the other, which is, I mean, it happens, but I just with this one, I feel like this doesn't feel like a last song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like you wanted a little acoustic number at the end, but we'll talk about that in a second. But no, I do I think it's a fun sing along. I like the chorus on this. I think that's the best part of this song. Is the "Please take me home till
Right.
it's gone." I bet you're sad. This is the best time we ever had. Like them breaking up is the best time we ever had. It's
right. And then him even saying, "I'm so I can't even recreate it." The jaded part where he's calculated wrong. I mean, it's just he leans so heavy into the emo sound.
Yeah.
That it's
the classic Tom sound. The I miss you Tom sound.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so I just yeah, I just feel like it's a good song. I just feel like it's not a great last song. And which is given the rest of the album, I kind of expected a little more.
Yeah, the bridge is fucking phenomenal. I fucking love that bridge. It was like one of the best bridges. So, I mean, and then you have like Tom and Mark going back and forth on it.
Yeah, no, I think that the call and response comes in, and again, it's like I want more of this. That's between this and Stay Together for the Kids. I'm like, you guys should be singing on each other's songs way more.
Also, you know what? Maybe that's so. You know how we're seeing that this kind of foreshadows into Untitled. That probably is true because the opening track of Untitled is feeling this, and that's like the biggest call and response.
The back and forth, yeah. That's when they're really like, this is how we're doing it now, yeah. Let's play this one.
Okay.
Because we have the first song of the album, we just played the last song of the album. It's a nice bookend here. So here is
Take us on home, Jeff.
Please Take Me Home, the final song on Take Your Pants Off and Jacket. All right, well, that's the album, but as Alan had mentioned,
I think that's the album.
Exactly. Well, Alan had mentioned that when it came out in 2001, how there were different versions of the CD that had 2 bonus songs, one sincere song, one joke song.
Actually, my copy of the vinyl from SRC Vinyl actually has the 7 inches as they were. So one 7 inches, yellow pants, red plain, green jacket, and they have the corresponding serious song and the joke song on it.
So let's start with Red. Want to start Red?
Red is you got a Tom song called "Time to Break Up." It's pretty fun. Feels like it could fit on the album.
That one definitely could have been on the album for sure.
Yeah.
It's got one of my favorite lines they ever wrote, actually, which was "Shit, fuck, I made a mistake." I just find that like just such a identifiable line. I'm like, man, I say that. Shit, fuck, I made a mistake. It's just a big oops. Is what the whole song is about. Like realizing you definitely had made a mistake.
And then the joke song is a Mark song.
Oh God!
It's called Mother's Day. It starts off pretty metal, and he says some things, and then it gets very sweet as he sings "It's Mother's Day."
He specifically says "fucking and sucking and touching."
Yes, he does. He sure does.
It's just the whole point of this song is just to piss people off. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I remember listening to it and I was just, oh boy, this is what we're doing. All right, let's do this.
You can find these songs on YouTube, by the way, if you want to hear them. They're not on Spotify.
They're not on Spotify, which probably is within good reason.
I think it's not a good reason. Give me one good reason why these aren't on Spotify, you know?
What went wrong?
Exactly. See?
I don't know. And then we get into, so let's go to Yellow. And Yellow, side 1, side A, phenomenal song. And What Went Wrong. That's a great song. And I feel like it could have been on the album. Somewhere.
It's so good. I mean, I almost would throw it on the end. I know it doesn't really fit the whole tone, but like it's one of my favorite Blink songs.
Yeah, that's my argument. It just doesn't fit the tone of the album.
And I love that it's acoustic. I love that that it's like.
I think if I'm not mistaken, that probably was the first acoustic group.
I think it is, and I remember Tom, like they were talking about how they would write all their songs. The first draft of the song was always on acoustic. Yeah. I remember Billy Joe from Green Day would talk about that. He used to write all the songs on acoustic guitar too. So it's funny that these loud, bombastic bands, but they start off on acoustic song and then they go to the electric.
I will say it's very melancholy. It's full of heart sickness. Like it just feels like this heartache is coming out the way his performance of the song. It actually, I think, is a sister song to There Is, which is on Boxcar Racer, which comes out the following year.
It's funny because I was thinking about that too. Like you took the words out of my brain.
Which is also one of my favorite Tom DeLonge songs ever. So when he wants to be very sincere and sweet and open up his wounds on a song, it really comes out powerfully. The joke song.
But then when he doesn't feel like being very sincere, we're going to flip the record and we're going to go listen to Fuck a Dog.
Fuck a Dog.
A dog.
This song is absurd. But my favorite thing about it is you can literally hear the two of them laughing as they do the song. That's like the funniest part. Because you hear Mark laugh and like he's like off on. I don't remember what he says anymore, but he giggles. Like you can hear him laugh, and then Tom does his line, and you can hear Tom laugh, and it's just again let's just piss people off with as absurd. Yeah.
Mark does. Sorry to interrupt. Mark does the Mexican pirate.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
that's what it is. He's like he says, "Me and my." What is it? He says, "Me and my first mate, Scurvy Cur."
He just starts giggling, and like you hear them, they can't even keep.
They can't do it.
They can't even keep a straight face.
They can't keep a straight face, and then Tom's like, "What the fuck was that?" Like you can like just from laughing, and I'm sure like you can hear the emotion in his face, be like, "What the fuck was that?" And then you hear Mark say, "What? It's a Mexican pirate."
Just so I feel like it's just them. I was gonna say digging around, but that fits. So digging around the studio and just killing time, and just this is what they came out with. Fuck a Dog.
And they said we got to put it out there as a secret song.
Somewhere out there, people needed to hear that. And then we go over to the Green record where we have "Don't Tell Me It's Over."
That's a fucking great song.
I like that song a lot too. Yeah,
I think that one could have probably been on the album.
Yeah.
It could have been on there. Although I find parts of that song a little problematic.
Yeah.
The how they're portraying women.
Yes.
In a couple of those lines, I was like,
yeah. Sometimes they make these generalizations about guys are like this and girls are like this. It's like, oh,
no absolutes, my friend. I mean, the one line that like women are rarely honest, and I was like, I don't know if that's true.
Okay, but he says most girls. He doesn't say all girls.
That's true.
I guess he does say most.
But regardless, it's still a little problematic.
Looking back on the scene, and particularly 2001, where this is coming out, I'm like a little problematic nowadays.
And the whole guys hate to fight, girls think it's therapy.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like, all right.
Still a problematic song. When You Fucked Grandpa is the side B.
So, like I said, this was the version that I bought. This was the my first experience with Blink joke songs you could track.
What was that like for you? Like to hear that, like you're gonna 3 minutes of quiet, then you get the one song, and then you get this song this is how you're gonna close out the album.
So my favorite part, one of my favorite parts of the song was that Tom sang in Spanish on this because he started it with "Uno, dos, tres, cuatro." And then it just goes into Mark saying, "When you fuck Grandpa, did he tell you that he loved you?" This, so this album came out in 2001. At that point, I was 12. So imagine 12-year-old me just blasting this in my CD player, my portable CD player.
Just like bopping your head to "He Rubs His Dick in Broken Glass,"
Oh my god, the images. I swear to God, like this album was written, some of the parts of this album is written for a 12, 14-year-old boy just to play it and be like, I'm just gonna piss off my parents. That's all it is.
I do love the chorus, how he sings. He seems like a total asshole. Grandpa is a total fucking asshole. Like, it's so like, there's such a sincerity to it.
Yeah.
And sweetness to it. It's like,
some grandpas are assholes.
Yeah.
No, that's true. I didn't know I needed to hear. So I don't think I needed to hear a song about when you fuck Grandpa. I think I can leave. I'm thinking better off without it. But here we are.
You know what's fun? You know what's funny? Like, I remember, like, years later, I listened to the CD. I found my CD and I played it in my car. I was older at that point. Obviously, it was like about 4 or 5 years later. And I finally like realized what so the outro is Mark just like saying, "This is fucking stupid, man. I can't believe you had sex with your own grandfather. I mean, you guys are related. What's he gonna do? Take out his false teeth and just leave them on the side of your bed?" And then at the end of it, he's like, "Man, you like to fuck him in the butt and have everyone come in and watch and masturbate and come all over the place." So I didn't know what a lot of that meant when I was 12. So I remember going back revisiting it. I'm like, yeah, why the fuck was I listening to this at 12? That outro is great though, because
the outro of him like losing his mind at the end is really fun.
Yeah, especially because the chorus is still playing behind the outro.
Yeah,
it's such a strange song. It's such a strange song, but all right.
Well, Phil, I know you told me don't tell you when it's over, but this is over. The album's done. We're done talking about it.
The album is done. We're done talking about it, which is good.
What a roller coaster.
That was some ride, I tell you. So all right, let's talk a little bit. I want to ask some questions to you guys. All right. I would like to know what you guys think is the best song on the album. So Jeff, let's start with you. What is the best song on the album?
I mean, the best song, not necessarily my favorite. Well, that's probably one of my favorites. I don't know. I'm just gonna go with "Stay Together for the Kids." It's just too tremendous of a song, too important to them, and just a banger.
Alan, what's the best song on the album?
So I always have this thing where I always say there's the best song and then there's my favorite song. My favorite song is not always the best song.
That's fine. We got a sleeper question for you in a minute. That'll be your favorite song. So what is the best song on the album?
So the best song to me, I think, is After Part 2. It's just fucking perfectly written, perfect way to introduce the album, like know what we're getting ourselves into for the album, I feel. Again, the drum intro is perfect, the riff is perfect. Just like it's such a great album opener, and the fact that it's still a staple in their set list is like that just tells you all you need to know about it.
Alan's right. Anthem Part 2 is the best song on the album. It's the best song on the album. It's just, I don't give it to. That's the best song on the album. Mm-hmm. Jeff, what is a song you were skipping?
I'm going to skip. What am I going to skip today? I'm going to skip Every Time I Look for You.
Alan, what about you? What are you skipping?
I'm probably going to skip Rock Show solely because, I mean, it's just obviously the most overplayed on the album. And then me working for you, I fucking play that song so much because it's a banger though. It's such a good song though. Like it's not. I'm not skipping it because it's a bad song. I'm skipping it because I'm kind of tired.
Yeah, our skips don't equate to necessarily a bad song. It's just that the game we're playing.
What you don't feel like listening to. I'm going to agree again. This time with Jeff. Every time I look at you, it's a filler song, and I just don't like it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Jeff, what do you think is the sleeper song that people sleep on? Maybe your favorite song? Like, what do you think people sleep on?
Well, I feel like this has happened before. I have a sleeper song, but when other people call it the best song on the album, I guess it's not really a sleeper song. So I was going to say Anthem Part 2. So now I feel like I'm on the spot here. But I will say a sleeper song is
we've done shows where I've picked the sleeper song and everybody said it's the worst song. So I mean, it's the same concept.
Then I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. Anthem Part 2 is my sleeper
Anthem
song,
Part-
but clearly you guys are not sleeping on it, so good for you.
No, we're in the scene. We know this. I mean, how Jeff, we originated the scene.
We built this
so
scene.
We built this scene. That's exactly what it is. Alan, what for you is the sleeper song?
Sleeper song for me, I kind of want to say Roller Coaster. I think Roller Coaster is probably the sleeper song for me. I personally, I would pick Online Songs as a sleeper song because it's such a good song. But the fact that it didn't age very well at all is my reason for not picking it as a sleeper song. But Roller Coaster is probably the sleeper song for me.
I have to say, I think the sleeper is Reckless Abandon. I think it's actually a very different song for them. I think it's an underappreciated song. How about that?
See, I don't feel. I guess me because I've seen Blink live 41 times, or I'm sorry, 45 times.
Whew.
Wait,
That's not that many. That's not that many.
I think I'm at 45. But I've seen them
Are you
so much.
counting ticket stubs as we speak?
Oh, I have a list of all the bands I've ever seen and how many times I've seen them. Yeah. I've been keeping this list since 2006. So
wow. If only we had smartphones, we were
younger. So I've seen Blink 45 times, and I feel like every show that I've been to, they play Reckless.
They play it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's for me. That's where I'm gonna put it. So fuck it. All right. One last question for you guys. What do you think is the best extended portion of the album? So is it red, yellow, or green? Jeff, what's the best part? Red, yellow, or green? Now, as a reminder, red is Time to Break Up and Mother's Day. Yellow is What Went Wrong and Fuck a Dog. Great title. And green is Don't Tell Me It's Over and When You Fucked Grandpa.
Well, Phil, I'm gonna break the rules. I'm taking one song from yellow, one song from green, and making my own. I'm doing what went wrong from yellow because I think it's one of the best Blink songs.
Yeah.
And I can't not have When You Fuck Grandpa because it just makes me laugh.
I don't know what tertiary color yellow and green is gonna make, but okay, let's go with that. So what went wrong and Grandpa? Okay, this is for my notes for later on. All right, Alan. What are we doing?
I'm sticking to the rules.
Okay.
I will stick to the rules. I will say
no reckless abandon over here.
Shut up. I'm probably gonna go. If I had to sticking to the rules, I would probably say Time to Break Up and Mother's Day would be probably be the good one.
Time to Break Up, Mother's Day. You would stick to red if you didn't stick to the rules.
If I didn't stick to the rules, I'd go Time to Break Up and then probably When You Fuck Grandpa, because When You Fuck Grandpa is so nostalgic to me now because I grew up on that song, unfortunately.
It made you the man you are today.
All right. So maybe we'll reimagine this. Is it you take a serious song and a joke song and recreate an album? That would be your version for the extended. So we'll go with that instead. Okay. So now I'm going to rethink this really quick. I think I'd actually I'd go with Time to Break Up and Fuck a Dog, because I think hearing Tom and Mark laugh is a joy just for that one moment. So.
Yeah, because it's funny you say that because this tour made me feel those feelings again because they were so happy on this tour and it was the best to see them acting like the best of friends again. Yeah. And it as much as I personally enjoyed Skiba in the band. I love California. I love Nine. I think Skiba did his job great as, I guess you want to say, the fill-in for Tom. But seeing them happy again, seeing them being the best of friends, the banter, I almost cried at some points because I was so happy that the banter was back. Their banter is legendary.
Well, there was one point at the show where Tom said something and Mark's like, "Wait, don't tell me you're gonna quit the band again." He made a joke like that. I was like,
they did it throughout the whole fucking tour, and it was fucking great every time.
So good. Yeah. Yes. But that's that. So
that's that.
Anyway,
reached the end of the show. Jeff, do you want to mention anything?
I want to mention that when we finish the show and put a period at the end of the sentence, we're going to play Rock Show because we didn't play it earlier.
Okay, I'm gonna
So
make
stay
note of
tuned
that.
for that.
Stay tuned.
I'm not
for
gonna be
that.
listening to. I'm not gonna be listening to the end of the show because that's my skipper song.
That's right. You know what? You just trail off into the sunset. No, real quick, just want to put a shout out to we are on Spotify. We're also on YouTube. We have Facebook now. We have an Instagram. We have a Threads. I don't do a lot with Threads, but I don't think anybody else really does right now either. Did I get it all? Instagram? Oh, and TikTok.
Also, podcasts for Spotify, really fun platform to do. You can put songs on like we do. So go out there and make your own Blink-182 joke song podcast and just play all their joke songs.
Try to come up with the greatest sequencing for all the joke songs. That sounds like you know what? That sounds like a good show.
Of course, most of those songs aren't on Spotify, so that's a poor choice. But you can do anything. I'm sure Van Halen has some joke songs you could use.
Just hit me up. I know where to find them.
Yeah, I was gonna make a very crass joke and say any of the Van Hagar jokes would be the songs would be the joke songs. But I'm a Van.
Alan, where can people find you on the socials?
Socials. You can find me on Twitter. I am at Alan Cruz, ALANCRUZ. On Instagram, it is at Alan ALANC182, which is very fitting to this podcast. To this episode of the podcast. And then what else am I on? I am on TikTok. I don't really use it. I don't remember my username because that's how much I use it. Let me see. I'll look it up really quick right here. It is also at Alan C182.
That was a bit anticlimactic that it was the same one as your Instagram one.
Yeah. If it can't be my real name, it's just Alan C182 most of the time.
I gotcha. Quick thanks to our executive producer, my wife.
My wife?
My wife, yeah, my wife Megan. She's the executive producer. She puts up with me and all of my stupid antics.
Well, guys, I can't wait for the summer when the Warped Tour returns and charges $500 a ticket.
Oh God, it's gonna be at least $500 a ticket. Ugh. All right, let's go.
All right, here's the Rock Show, and good night.
Night, guys.